get your business moving. Sign up with iHeartAdBuilder.com and create a custom radio ad to reach job seekers listening to stations just like this one. Get started today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Still buying bottled water? Really? Eliminate the cost and hassle of buying, well, it's wasteful plastic water bottles. Look what it does to the environment. So let me suggest a Life Source whole house water filtration system where you can have this delicious, clean, filtered water coming out of every tap in your home. And there are no filters to change. Once they install it, no maintenance at all. You actually forget about it. And what the Life Source water system does, reduces the odor and taste of chlorine from your water. And not only are you hydrating your body, your skin, your hair will thank you too. You're buying directly from the factory, which provides installation and customer service for the life of your system. They've been around for 36 years here in Southern California, and if you're looking to join a growing team, Life Source is hiring team members in your area. Call 800-334-5009, 800-334-5009. Visit lifesourcewater.com. Life Source Water. Taste and feel the difference.
KFI AM 640. Here's our next emerging artist, Town from Pleasant View, Tennessee, Running Into You. At 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. To reach George via Skype, use Skype name George97313. Send George a text message anytime at 818-298-6521. This is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
Let's take your calls this hour with Dr. Peter Langdon Ward. The name of his book, of course, is called What Really Causes Global Warming, Greenhouse Gases, or Ozone Depletion. But we'll come back and get your calls on Coast to Coast AM. Facebook will soon review its ban on former President Trump. What's your opinion? Should Facebook let President Trump back on? Let us know. Vote in Newsmax poll. Just text the word river to 39747. That's 39747. Newsmax TV will share the results. Newsmax TV is the fastest growing cable news channel in America. It's on all the major cable systems, so tune in today. And vote now on the Trump ban. Text river to 39747.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just text Babbel to 64,000 and start learning a new language today. That's B-A-B-B-E-L to 64,000.
My doctor prescribed me Viagra. It wasn't covered by my insurance, so it was costing me like $65 a pill. That's expensive.
Over 20 million guys like us use Viagra. Over a certain age, we just need it. I found a way to pay less than $3 a pill and get virtually the same effect of the $65 pill. I heard an ad just like this on the radio, called, and for $99, I got 40 generic versions of the $65 pill. Save yourself money and call right now and get over 40 pills for $99. There's no embarrassment here to use Viagra. If we're over 50, we need it, but not at high prices. Call now with your credit card and get the 40 pill special for just $99.
800-847-1077. 800-847-1077. That's 800-847-1077. Paid for by Steelman Pills.
Welcome back to Coast. George Dory with you, along with Dr. Peter Langdon Ward. We're taking your calls with him this hour. Peter, what do you think happened to Mars? It once had an atmosphere, it had an ocean, it had lots of water. What happened?
Well, what happened to Earth? I mean, we've been changing radically also over the billions of years. And there are various processes going on. I'm not well up to date on exactly how Mars progressed, but Earth has changed immensely in the last 4 billion years.
When rivers dry up, like the Colorado River's doing right now, sadly, is it evaporation? Does the water sink down through like a drain and goes down into the planet? What happens to it?
It's lack of water falling from the sky. Okay, so in the headwaters of the Colorado, you're getting less snowfall. The other problem we've got with the Colorado is all of civilization downstream doesn't dependent upon it. And so we're using up the water, and it's not being replenished at the rate that it used to be. And the problem is, as we go forward, I mean, there's fairly good scientific evidence that ozone depletion is responsible for much of the drought in the Southwest. And as long as the ozone layer remains depleted over the next several decades, that drought's going to continue.
Do you agree with that?
If that's the case, we're going to be in bad shape if that's the case.
Horrible shape. Do you agree with that possibility?
Well, that is my research, and I do discuss that in my book. And I would say that research is developing. It appears to be good, but I think it's less well known. I'm less sure of it than the fact that greenhouse gas theory is wrong. It's mistaken.
To the phones we go. Mark in Baltimore, Maryland, to get us started. Hey, Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, George, very much. Before I get to my question, also, I want to thank you so much for when you played the tribute to the late, great Mr. Timothy Green Beckley.
Okay, you're very
Part of that
welcome.
tribute was my conversation with him.
You're very welcome. He was.
Thank you so much for recognizing me like that. My question to Dr. Ward is the following about ozone. I've been reading a lot about it recently, and I understand it's a very heavy element, and if it was necessary for us to replenish or replace ozone, I mean, with current rocket technology, according to what I'm understanding, is we don't have enough propulsion to get the ozone up there into the atmosphere. So that's kind of like what my question is. You know, what are your thoughts on ozone replacement or replenishment, and could we eventually, or is there any, can you speak to anything about the technology to get it up there if we need to?
Well, the formation of ozone, the recovery of ozone, is the energy needed to create ozone, is the highest energy radiation coming from the sun. So for us to interfere in a positive way with the ozone hole and try to help it heal, we're talking about energies that are not readily available to us. So that's what we need to do. What we need to do is stop the emission of gases that's causing this ozone depletion, and the ozone layer will heal itself.
Is China helping us, or Russia? Are they doing anything to combat this issue?
Well, in terms of ozone, there's the Montreal Protocol, which was signed off on by almost all nations in the world, and they still under the Montreal Protocol. There's a lot of research going on, a lot of work going on. Russia and China are involved. Ozone pollution is a big deal in China. Pollution is a much bigger deal in China than it is in the United States. So anyway, everybody's involved to some extent, but at this point, the scientists don't recognize the value of it. I mean, what many of the climate scientists say to me is, well, there isn't much ultraviolet B, but we have a lot of infrared. Well, what they're missing is the fact that ultraviolet B is 50 times the energy of infrared. And what matters in terms of temperature is energy. And so there are things we should do. On my website, whyclimatechanges.com, there's a whole tab that talks about what we ought to be doing. And what we should not be doing is trying to decrease greenhouse gas emissions.
You were saying earlier that we sort of can predict where earthquakes will occur. We just don't know when to predict when they'll happen. What is your best guess about the Los Angeles area, Peter?
Well, we know that damaging earthquakes have occurred there in the past, that magnitude 8 type earthquake in the Los Angeles basin is a major problem. But the question is whether it's going to become sooner or later. There's a very good chance that it may be another 100, 200 years. I worked in Northern California most of my career with the USGS. I produced a magazine that explained what the risk was and how we can prepare for that risk. And that got distributed to 3.3 million families in Northern California. And that led to a similar magazine in Southern California and in several other major cities around the world. We know a lot about earthquakes. We're worried that in the North Bay of San Francisco, we haven't had an earthquake there for a very, very long time. And we predicted 30 years ago there was a very high probability it would occur within 30 years. Well, it hasn't occurred yet. And, when something is only happening every few hundred years, few thousand years or whatever, predicting it is tough. But what we can say is that major earthquakes will occur in the future in San Francisco area, in Los Angeles area, and in many other regions. And that we can say with certainty.
What about the caldera at Yellowstone, which erupts approximately every 600,000 years, and it seems to be overdue?
Well, it's not really overdue. I mean, I live in Jackson Hole, just south of Yellowstone. I am close friends with the scientists that work at Yellowstone. And what's going on there at the moment is quite expected. The chances of a major eruption are very low. What's nice about volcanic eruptions is you tend to see many earthquakes increase. You tend to see the heating increase. There are many things you can measure before a volcanic eruption that will tell you that the eruption is coming. We did this with some success around St. Helens. The biggest success was Mount Pinatubo in 1991, when a group of scientists from the Philippines and the United States were able to get people out of the way before the eruption of Pinatubo, which was the largest volcanic eruption since 1912.
Let's go to Daniel, truck driving in Arkansas, on the wild card line. Daniel, thank you for calling.
Hey, George. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you, Dan.
For taking my call. You definitely don't look that older than 50, my friend. Look good.
Thank you again. Not bad for 103, right?
Sounds good. Yeah, so a couple things real quick. I don't know if you heard of Bill Nye. They call him the science guy. I don't know if he really is a guy. But he believes that the Earth is like in a terrarium, that we live in a controlled terrarium-type structure over us, like this dome. And he says that nothing's coming in and nothing's going out. And I was looking at that program on him a while back ago. And anyway, so I was just curious about that. If, what's your question, what the answer is to that do we truly live in that terrarium-type dome? And that rockets don't go straight up because they would hit this and they would skip off. And I guess there's YouTube videos showing how it skips. So we're in a controlled environment and that the Earth does naturally heal itself. And then the other thing is, I don't know if you heard of the book that's called Controlling the Population of the Masses Through Climate Change. And they believe it's another way of controlling us and getting rid of our civil liberties and our freedom. So what do you think about that?
Interesting.
Bill Nye, the science guy, has done wonderful work at popularizing science, especially for students. When he came to town, the theater was sold out immediately, and it was mostly young kids. And Bill Nye has been really great that way. I don't think he would quite agree with what you say about a dome, but in terms of climate, Bill Nye, the science guy, and Al Gore have an experiment that they've shown on the internet that claims to show the greenhouse warming theory. Unfortunately, that experiment uses the wrong source of energy. And so no scientist has ever shown in the laboratory that greenhouse gases can cause warming, including Bill Nye.
Can it cause sterility, Peter? Can it cause that?
Can it cause which?
Sterility in people?
No, there's been some interesting work going on now that what may be dangerous for species is causing sterility in males as the temperature goes up. And that temperature is less than the temperature that the species would die at because of warmer temperature. And I only found that the other day in some updates that I got from the web. So there is some question. I mean, the reason testicles hang outside the body is to keep them cool. And if the climate gets warm enough, then there can be some serious problems.
Mike in Denver, take it away, Michael.
Good morning, George. Thank you so much for taking my call. And Mr. Langdon, first of all, I want to thank you so much for your research and for being here tonight. And I just had a quick comment and a question tonight. So, Peter, for a long time, I believe the only force strong enough to affect global weather was the sun. But there is another force called the North Atlantic Current, where if this current was to hit a desalinization point, this becomes a major climate change. And kind of how this works, so polar ice, we know it's composed of fresh water. And as it melts, it adds more fresh water into the sea, and it makes the water in the North Atlantic less dense. And at some point, it won't be able to sustain anymore, and essentially the global ocean conveyor belt it stops circulating, which essentially could bring about a new ice age. But Peter, my question is, what are your thoughts on global currents, like the Gulf Stream current and North Atlantic current, in relation to climate change?
Currents have a lot to do with it, don't they, Peter?
Yeah, well, the summary that the listener just gave was quite accurate, that there is observed the change in the salinity of water in the North Atlantic leads to currents. I mean, the greatest warming on Earth is in the equator areas, and currents are one of the ways of moving that heat north and south away from the equator. The question is, what came first, the cart or the horse? I argue that the fresh water that we observe in cores measured in the North Atlantic was the result of melting of ice with volcanoes under the ice in Iceland. We know that the major warming at the end of the last ice age was the result of basaltic volcanism in Iceland. And that when volcanoes are up under ice, they melt a lot of ice. And so I would argue that it's the volcanism that's causing the fresh water. There are many, many scientists out there who have written many papers arguing the fresh water is causing the change in temperature. And anyway, that's how science is done. We have to look at all those different angles. But it's pretty clear the correlation between basaltic volcanism depleting the ozone layer, causing major warming, is now becoming very, very clear, and a lot of data support that.
Let's go out to Portland, Oregon. John's with us, west of the Rockies. John, take it away.
Hello, George. Good evening to you. Good morning to you, everybody.
Hi, John.
I have to say, I absolutely disagree with your guest. I'm a naysayer here. I believe that we must decrease greenhouse gas emissions, especially carbon dioxide and methane, as soon as humanly possible, and very, very rapidly so. I agree with him that chlorine in the form of CFCs or chlorofluorocarbons in the upper atmosphere do deplete the ozone and did deplete the ozone, and that the Montreal Protocol was a political action that helped resolve that problem, and that when that problem persisted, we had bigger doses of ultraviolet radiation pouring in, especially over Antarctica. The issue is that global warming is becoming very quickly a climate catastrophe, and it is historically always associated with increased carbon dioxide, not chlorine emissions. Volcanoes emit like less than 5% of chlorine, according to one study from the University of Oregon, of chlorine emissions. Most of their emissions are carbon dioxide, silicate, and sulfuric acid. So I would advise everybody to read the book The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells, which describes very accurately why we need to decrease very rapidly greenhouse gas emissions rather than CFCs. But the fact that we did decrease CFC emissions from the Montreal Protocol, which was a coordinated political action between many countries, a global effort to decrease CFC emissions in consumer products and in other things from industry, and that did have an effect in ozone depletion reduction. And what we need to do is have the same kind of unanimity on greenhouse gas emissions, especially in the form of carbon dioxide and methane, because those are the ones that actually, according to all historical evidence, like in ice cores, like in fossilized evidence, those are the gases, greenhouse gas emissions are the ones that are actually associated with catastrophe.
All right, well, the great part about this program, Peter, is we all agree to disagree sometimes, and I'll let you have your floor here.
He's not alone in this belief. The vast majority of people on Earth believe that.
Right, including many scientists, as you've pointed out.
Well, the vast majority of scientists believe that. Maybe only about half the people on Earth believe that. So that is the current theory. But I recommend you go to my website, physically-impossible.com, and I explain there very clearly in one webpage what the problems are with greenhouse warming theory. It has been the reigning theory. Most scientists believe it is true, but it is turning out to be mistaken. It has never been demonstrated physically. A fundamental aspect of science is to be able to demonstrate in an experiment what is actually happening. And unfortunately, greenhouse gas theory has never been demonstrated by anybody physically.
The websites that Peter mentions are all linked up for you at coasttocoastam.com, by the way, and we're going to chat a little bit, take a break, and come back with final phone calls here. Is it a topic where people are at a point now where they can talk and discuss, or do they still get angry? I know they did a few years ago, Peter.
People, unfortunately, there are trenches on both sides, and they're lobbing bombs at each other. There is one of the problems with the consensus. It is broken down scientific discussion. I mean, consensus is the stuff of politics, but discussion, debate is the stuff of science. And because there's been this great emphasis on building consensus, the discussion in science has been broken off. I mean, I go to maybe 4 major scientific meetings every year. I've had booths in the exhibit hall discussing what I'm discussing. I'm the only scientist that's done anything like that. I've talked to over 10,000 scientists in person. There are many that are curious, many wondering about it. Certainly the younger ones have more open minds. But it's really tough. This is just like in the days when everybody believed the Earth was flat. Anybody that didn't believe that obviously was an idiot.
And at least people on both sides, regardless of how we get to the cause, at least they care about the climate and the planet, right? Can we say that?
Yeah. I think that's very clear. Both sides feel that they are saving humanity from different things at different points. And they're very sincere. I mean, all my fellow scientists are absolutely convinced, based on the science as they know it, and as we know it, and as we agree to it today, that they're right.
All right, we're going to come back and take final phone calls with you, Peter, in just a moment. Here's our next emerging artist, Waking Bear from Olympia, Washington. The name of the song is Bigfoot, so listen in and enjoy that. We'll be back in a moment on Coast to Coast AM.
To find out where George Norrie's speaking, go to the coasttocoastam.com website, scroll down to the bottom, and click George's calendar.
sits at home, waiting to be loved, not alone. Nah, 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 Sarah. KFI, news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks.
I'm Phil Hewlett from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. One day after 6-year-old Aiden Leos was laid to rest, two people, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, were arrested in connection with his murder. Marcus Ayres and Win Lee are each being held on $1 million bail. They face murder charges in the road rage shooting that took place on the 55 freeway. Police are on the hunt for a man who walked up to an elderly Venice Beach street performer, punched him in the head. Witnesses say the attacker is homeless and mentally ill. A man who allegedly fired gunshots into the air, then exchanged rounds with police at Azusa Pacific University is behind bars. The man may have taken shots at a school janitor as well, but missed. No one was hit. Southland weather from KFI, cloudy and some drizzle this morning, partly sunny later. Highs from the low 70s inland to mid-60s at the coast. Expect the same weather pattern tomorrow, maybe a degree or two warmer. Right now it's 61 in Fullerton, Costa Mesa 63, Lomita 61, and in Valley Village 61 degrees. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Making your way through Anaheim Hills on the westbound side of the mountain, past Imperial Highway, right involving a Fabric and two-motor cars. Couple of right lanes are affected. CHP's on the scene, starting to see a little rockers blockage coming up on that. Road work heading out of San Pedro. Those are down on the northbound side of the 110 from Gaffney to Anaheim Street. Two right lanes out of commission. That's going to wrap up right around 5. And up ahead in Carson, northbound 110 before Torrance. Bender in the right lane. CHP's on scene. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Ryan Duggins.
If you or your family have been financially impacted by COVID-19, this pandemic is not your fault. And new California laws have been passed to help.
That's right. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage or run up credit card or business debt, please listen carefully.
Our friends at Oak Tree Law know every letter of the new laws. And just listen to these real examples of how they help our listeners.
A nurse from Torrance had her hours cut due to COVID-19. She was hit with medical issues of her own, racked up $160,000 in debt, and fell behind on her mortgage. With this new law, she was able to get current on her mortgage and eliminate the bad debt.
Here's a story about a real estate agent and her husband in Pasadena. Their income stopped when the pandemic hit. Their second mortgage was threatening to foreclose, and they had $75,000 in credit card and business debt. This new law allowed them to protect their home and eliminate the debt.
This pandemic has affected us all, but there is life-changing help available with one absolutely free call to Oak Tree Law.
800-542-2949, 800-542-2949, or visit oaktreelaw.com.
In 1975, my family lived under the boot of communist Russia. Hello, I'm John Akoyan, owner of Rooter Hero Plumbing. Communism was so oppressive that my dad, who didn't speak a word of English, left everything behind and immigrated us to America. I was only 3 years old. I can't imagine the courage it took to do that. My father put us first, and at Rooter Hero Plumbing, we put you first. That's why we always offer you an affordable solution. If you have a clogged drain, call us at 866-DRAIN-77, and we'll cable your line for only $77. That's 866-DRAIN-77. Thank you for trusting Rooter Hero Plumbing with your most valuable asset, your home. I miss my dad, but his sacrifice will never be forgotten. Happy Father's Day.
CL 102-8886.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Here's the rule. Whenever you vote yes on a proposition, it's really no. Whatever the proposition says, it's not the truth. If it is citizens for, it has nothing to do with citizens. It's a special interest group that is saying we are citizens.
Bill Handel.
It's all a crock.
Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
Our next emerging artist. The artist is called the 1,000-Year Flood. Yep, that's the name. From Vancouver, Washington, the name of the song, Standing in the Rain. Our emerging artist, the first Sunday of every month. Here we go.
I got no one to blame. No one else to blame. The last bus home. Half an hour ago. Life is better this way. You cast your shadow on the window pane. On the window pane. My heart is swollen. My feet are slow. I won't be long if I stay.
To talk to George Norrie, call the wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. To reach George via Skype, use Skype name George97313. Send George a text message anytime at 818-298-6521. From the City of Angels, this is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
Next hour, Lisa Stewart joins us, first-time guest. We're going to talk about intuition and angels and how they all saved her life. So we'll talk about that just in a moment. We're going to be back in a moment with Dr. Peter Langdon Ward and take final phone calls as we talk about climate change as well. Have you signed up yet to become a Coast Insider? It's one of life's greatest little things.
I'm a Coast Insider because now I have 24/7 access to the best show ever, Coast to Coast AM.
Hi, it's Teresa. I love being an insider because the shows I listen to, I always appreciate the diversity of thoughtful insights on a variety of topics on Coast to Coast. The show has challenged me to think deeper and to broaden my horizon.
It's 15 cents a day, and you can sign up by going to coasttocoastam.com. It's right at the top. Just look for Coast Insider. Looking for ways to build up your immune system? This is one of the best.
HealthyLooking.com has brought you stem cell-based products for the skin and hair growth and is now offering the Stem Cell Wellness Kit to protect your body's stem cells and assist your immune system. Here's Dr. Malay with more.
Whether it's physical activity, obesity, diet, smoking, low on hormones, stress, sleep disorders, or your age can be supported by reducing inflammation and aiding the body to heal itself appropriately. A stem cell is a cell waiting to be told what it needs to be. If there is inflammation, that inflammation needs to be stopped. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, various types of cancer, depression, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disorders, osteoporosis, even fatty liver are chronic signs of inflammation and can be aided by supporting the body's ability to protect those cells that it needs. And that is the purpose of ImmuStem and AdaptoStem together, supporting the body to be the best it can be.
Dr. Malay, how will I feel after taking AdaptoStem and ImmuStem?
The ImmuStem is going to have an immediate effect, but I guarantee you that your immune system is starting to function better after 24 hours. You put AdaptoStem along with it, you will feel it in 30 minutes.
Order now at HealthyLooking.com. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit from Dr. Malay protects your body's stem cells and will make you feel better faster. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit with AdaptoStem and ImmuStem and your free gift Relaxol is only available at HealthyLooking.com or toll free at 800-563-3980. That's 800-563-3980. Don't forget to enter promo code George for free shipping. George's Stem Cell Wellness Kit at HealthyLooking.com. That's HealthyLooking.com.
George Norrie with a message from BetterHelp.com. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp.com wants you to start living a happier life today. And if you log on to BetterHelp.com, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/George, they're giving you a special offer to start living a happier life. In less than 48 hours, they can assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online whenever it's convenient for you. Schedule weekly video or phone sessions that are more affordable than traditional offline and in-person counseling, and financial aid is available too. They've helped more than 1 million people take charge of their mental health and can help you too.
Visit BetterHelp.com/George. Doesn't matter where you live, they can help you worldwide. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/George. BetterHelp.com.
They say, if you love something, to set it free. If it doesn't come back, it was never yours to begin with. Here at LifeLock, we have to say, what a load of bull hockey! All those nights working overtime, saving up all that money, paying off all that debt, and now some identity thief wants to try and set it free? That's crazy talk. Good thing LifeLock helps monitor your info and alerts you to potential identity threats. And if you do become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based specialist will be there to help fix it.